Servers send HTML files based on client requests for some specific resource. Some of the resources requested by clients are static. We can serve them in a static HTML file. But most of the data requested these days is dynamic. That data depends on what the client is asking for, and often it also depends on which specific user is on the other side. When we have a static HTML file, the same web page is sent for everyone. A template, on the other hand, contains variables. These variables are replaced by values passed to the template when the template is rendered. These variables are helpful with the dynamic data. We can even have for loops and conditional statements inside the template. Jinja 2 is a modern and designer-friendly templating language for Python. It's modeled after Django's templates. It is fast, widely used, and most importantly, secure. With Jinja 2, we can use variables in the HTML templates. We can also write code inside the HTML templates, and that code is very similar to Python code. The template is then passed the actual data to render the final document. Here's the general syntax. Statements are enclosed inside pairs of curly braces followed or preceded by percent signs. Double curly braces delimit expressions or variables that will be replaced by their values when the template is rendered. Here's how we write a conditional statement in Jinja 2. We have the if followed by the first condition. We can have an elif, just like in Python. We can also have an else branch. The only difference with Python is that we have to have an end to the if block, and that's delimited by the endif statement. Note that we can also use or and spelled out to combine conditions. So we can write if condition 1 and condition 2, elif condition 3 or condition 4. Note that unlike Python, there are no colons here. We just use the curly braces and the percent sign around each statement, and the if statement has to end with an end if delimiter. Here's how we would write a for loop in Jinja 2. We have for variable in some iterable, and that statement is delimited with the curly braces and percent sign, and we have to have an end for delimiter. To practice writing Jinja 2 templates, let's go back to our About template and add a table to it. We would like to display on the About page all the reviews that have been entered for CS122. We want to add a review section, but we only want to add it if there are actual reviews for the course. And then for each review that has been entered, we want to display the grade and the comment in a table style. So let's go to PyCharm and see how we can achieve that. So if you remember, in our about function, we were querying the database and saving the result in a Python list results. So results was a list of Python objects. One object corresponds to each row in our reviews table. And we are calling render template and passing the about.html template and the results list. Now let's go to the about template and see how we can modify it to add this reviews table. So the first thing we want to do is we want to add this table only if there are some reviews. If there are no reviews, then we just want to list the course description. So the first statement here for us is going to be if results, if the result list that we were just passed is not empty. Let's add the end if block delimiter so that we don't forget it here. Now inside this if block, we have to add two things. We have to add the header, reviews, and we also have to add the actual table. Now the actual table has a table header for the two columns, grade and comment. Now we need to add a row For each result, we use our Jinja 2 for loop. And remember, results is a list of Python objects. We access result.grade and result.comment and render them here. We add our end4 block delimiter here. Now let's make sure our server is running, and let's see what we get here in the browser. So we get the reviews table, and then we get all the entries in our database. So just so that we are clear on where these variable names came from, the results variable that's used inside the Jinja2 template is this result keyword argument. Now this list happens to be called results as well, but we can call it something else. So this green result could have been called all results. And this is the value that's passed to the argument results. Inside the template, we use the argument name results. And here again, in the for loop, we use the argument results, and that corresponds to this results that's passed to render template. This is the argument name that's used in the template. And finally, here when we access the grade and comment are actually instance variables in the review class. Remember, we said results is a list of Python objects. These are Python review objects. So we access the comment and grade instance variables using the dot notation, result.grade and result.comment. And here we are iterating over the list results. It's a list of Python review objects. Now, one word about the ID. We have not mentioned it. The user does not enter a review ID. The review ID is automatically generated by the database when we add a row. So it's an integer, it's a primary key. We could query it if we wanted to, we could print it, but here it's not relevant. And it's generated when an entry is added to the database.